Vasishtha is involved in a very deep contemplation of the elements. And these are the elements of the ancients: earth, water, fire and air. Also maybe including space as the fifth element. This might seem quite quaint to us people. I think of us living in a more enlightened and knowledgeable scientific era. But we shouldn't dismiss these ancient elements, or this categorization of the elements. There's a lot to it. I've spoken previously about how such a contemplation can help direct us back to ourself, to our essential nature. The elements have a hierarchy of grossness from earth through to air and space, which are very subtle. This grossness relates to the way the senses interact with them. So with earth, all the senses apply. We can hear it, we can hear earthquakes, we can taste it, see it, touch it, smell it. Water. We don't smell water. Perhaps we could say it's got a taste. We don't have that same experience of solidity with water, unless it's frozen. Fire is far more insubstantial. It's got colour and heat. We don't taste it. We don't touch it. We can't touch it. And air. We can't taste, touch, smell, or see it. We can sometimes hear it in the form of the wind. We can sometimes feel its touch, even if there's no wind. If we're focusing on our breathing, we can feel the entrance of the air at our nostrils. So the elements become more insubstantial, and as we focus on them, it can guide us towards our own insubstantiality. We could also argue that the more insubstantial they become, the more vital they become. We can imagine being without earth, without solidity, but can we imagine being without air, without space even? Air is sometimes called the prana, or the life force. Fire is heat. So as the elements become subtle, more subtle, they also become more vital. So in this way they can also reflect degrees of awareness or degrees of sentience, degrees of inertness, degrees of awareness. These degrees in the Hindu tradition are referred to as the Tamasic, rajasic and satvic. The Tamasic is dull, and the satvic is pure. The Tamasic is low in sentience, and the satvic is high in awareness. So Rama asked a question about when Vasishtha was identifying with the fire element, if he was happy or unhappy, because there were certain qualities represented by the fire element which were to do with passion. Vasishtha replied, "Just as when a person sleeps he becomes temporarily insentient, though he is a sentient being, consciousness becomes an inert object." And consciousness, when you're aware of something, that awareness which is alive, it becomes what it's aware of, and that can be an inert object. When it thinks of itself as the elements, earth, etc., it thinks of itself as being inert. In fact, however, there is no such division of consciousness into subject and object. So consciousness apparently becomes inert, and we make this division into subject and object. But it's not a true division. Hence, whatever I experienced in the states of earth, water and fire, I experienced only as Brahman. If I had in fact become inert, how could I experience what it is to be earth, etc.? The sentient person thinks, I am asleep, and he appears to be insentient. I think this is a metaphor here. this being asleep is being asleep to your true nature. So you think you are what you are. If one wakes up to the truth concerning oneself, then the materiality of the body vanishes. With the subtle body, the ativahika body, he is then able to enter anything, anywhere. This is when you go beyond the distinction between reality and imagination. This subtle body is nothing but pure intelligence. When one enters another state with this intelligence out of his own wish, then obviously one does not experience unhappiness or sorrow. So this is an answer to Rama's question, if he was unhappy or happy. So it doesn't really apply. The question doesn't apply. Just as the world seen and experienced in a dream is enveloped by the darkness of ignorance and is therefore unreal, even so are the other elements that one experiences. When one touches a river of sparks which he fancies in his own mind, he does not experience pain. Such was the case with my elemental experiences. That seems quite obvious, really. And Vasishtha seems to be enjoying this. He's enjoying this visualization. And perhaps Rama's question is simply a reminder, a prod to Vasishtha, to not get too lost in these experiences, to remind him that it is the imagination.